Hi everybody, this is Suzette. Welcome. I am currently streaming on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. So hi everybody. I am streaming to Facebook as well as LinkedIn today, and this is going to be exciting because this is new. And excuse the pun, but this is just am I heard? Can you hear me clearly? On Facebook and on LinkedIn. Just if you cannot hear me, just drop a comment in the chat. And yeah, I just want to welcome you. This is the first time that I'm doing an audio live on LinkedIn, and if you are joining, please come and say hi. And yeah, I'm going to kick this off very soon. Apologies for the slight delay, technical issues, especially with Facebook for a change. So I'm gonna kick this off because this is really important. This message is really important. The message of being heard, of getting your voice out there and really truly being heard and being able to speak up no matter where you are at and no matter what you are faced with and what the situation is. So as an introduction, for those of you who do not know me yet, I am Suzette Lowe. I am a women's self-awareness coach, and I am also the founder of I Am Life Coach. And Yusuf, thank you very much for joining. I trust that you can hear me clearly, and just looking forward to sharing my experience and knowledge that I've gained over the years in terms of being heard and why it is so important for us to get our voices heard. So I am Suzette Lowe. I'm a women's self-empowerment coach and also the founder of I Am Life Coach. I'm also the creator of the I Am Transformational Model. If that is something you would like more information on, please give a shout, but this is not what this is about. So one of the biggest challenges that I would say around empowering yourself and around self-empowerment and also, of course, self-awareness is authenticity. Now, authenticity is such a big word, and it is such a powerful word. And certainly for me in my past, it is something that I never really paid a hell of a lot of attention to. I never really gave it much thought because I was at a point in my life where I was so disconnected with myself that authenticity didn't even occur to me. I didn't even think about it. It wasn't important. It wasn't something that I even knew was one of my core values at that point in my life. And so where we struggle with authenticity, we really struggle with having our voices heard. We struggle with being confident. And we struggle with this whole idea, and particularly as women, of living in abundance, being abundant. And abundance can be anything to anybody. It can mean anything to you. It is whatever it is for you. And that is why I created this 3-part series about, first of all, I am heard. So getting your voice out there, getting heard. And then the second week we will talk about being confident. So I am confident. And then the third one would be I am abundant. So living in abundance and whatever that is for you. And for those of you popping in on LinkedIn, very welcome. This is my first live, so bear with me, particularly in terms of technical issues. So let's just talk about. So really, for the purpose of this series is to explore the profound impact that authentic self-expression and confidence and your idea of abundance has on you and your life and how you relate with other people. So in this series, I want to create really awareness of it, and I want to provide you with practical tools for cultivating, getting heard, being confident, and feeling abundant. So let's kick off with feeling heard. And here is why it is important that you get your voice heard and that you are able to speak up, particularly with authenticity. Being able to raise your voice with confidence is about so much more than giving your opinion or giving instructions, telling people what to do, or, we as mothers tend to want to control our kids' lives, particularly when they're teenagers. It's about tapping into the emotions behind getting your voice heard. That actual feeling behind being heard, and more so, the feeling of being understood. Isn't that what it is all about? Isn't that what we want out of getting our voices out there, is being understood? And then it goes much further and deeper, as it really taps into how confident we feel in who we are, which in turn connects us with our self-worth and how we truly feel about ourselves. How connected are you to your true self? How connected are you to your values, your purpose? What are your beliefs? Are you aware of what your beliefs are around certain things? And identifying where there are mismatches between who you truly are and what your beliefs are, what you believe your purpose is, and the words you use. And then furthermore, as we dig deeper, it taps into our undealt traumas and emotions, those things that happened to us and we put a plaster on and we merely moved on because we are in survival mode. Because perhaps we realize that when we are going to spend time working through those traumas, it is going to be really, really hard. So that is not what this talk is about, and I'm not going to go into detail with that. But do you ever say something out loud? Do you ever say something and suddenly once it's out there, once it's said, we all know we can't take it back. When it's said, eh? Something just doesn't feel right within your body. Something doesn't feel okay with what you have just said, but you can't pinpoint it. It's like maybe you feel it in your gut, but you can't really pinpoint, okay, what is it about what I just said didn't feel okay? And that is when we are really out of authenticity, when we're speaking out of authenticity with who we truly are. I remember in my past, way back when authenticity wasn't a thing for me, I often used to say things like, that sounded really harsh, like that almost sounded mean. Now, authentically, I do not have one mean bone in my body. However, at that point in my life, I was so riddled with anger and sadness, resentment, which, I didn't even pay attention to all these feelings, but they were there. I was exhausted. I was burnt out. I was a single mother, making it work in a corporate world between that and being a single mom, and all the stresses and anxieties and everything that went with those roles. And I know as women you can most probably relate. So there were subconscious feelings of feeling sorry for myself, which, by the way, didn't reflect on my outside. I had this beautiful mask on, and I was coping with everything that was going on in my world, outer world. It wasn't true for what I was feeling inside, but that is where the unauthenticity came through, and it came out in my words. So I didn't realize what I was going through internally. I didn't want to stop and to pay attention to what was going on here. I didn't think I had the time to do that. I think I was really afraid to do it. So I was truly disconnected from who I really was, the real me, the one with the passions and a purpose, with self-love and, of course, authenticity. So authentic self-expression, what is it? It's really the ability to communicate your thoughts, your feelings, and genuinely with respect and with kindness and with grace. It is for that reason why self-awareness is so critical in understanding and expressing yourself authentically. Here's the thing. If you can get to that point of being so connected with yourself that you are able to authentically speak your truth, nobody else's, yours, a new magical world opens up for you. I know that because I've been there. I was in a toxic relationship, and my ex-husband used to accuse me of having a God in front of my mouth. I used to get very angry when he said that, because deep down I knew it was true. I did have a God in front of my mouth, because I was not authentic, because the words that came out of my mouth was just so far removed from who I really am. I didn't even know who I was. I started, and yeah, it was true. And the more he realized that, the more did I start becoming conscious of not saying too much. Because in my body, I felt like this, the words that I'm uttering is not exactly, how I really feel. So that just me not speaking up anymore, me just staying more and more quiet, of course, left me feeling more resentful, more angry, more unheard. And it was a vicious circle. So in short, when you reach that place of being so in touch with who you truly are, you just don't need a God in front of your mouth anymore. Your confidence increases. You start building stronger, healthier relationships, and not only with other people, but with yourself, the most important person in your life. Your personal growth skyrockets. It's like, it's amazing. It's like a Pandora's box opens up, and you suddenly have so much to say, and you've got so much to give. You just want to be there, heard, which is why I'm here today. That is what brought me here today. So I've got to give this full disclaimer. You are not suddenly going to stop forevermore saying stupid things. You will always, I'm a Sagittarius. I say stupid and inappropriate things all the time. However, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, the real connection that I feel with myself, knowing my values, knowing my purpose, I know for a fact that nothing that I say, as stupid and as inappropriate as it can be at times, nothing would be intended to be mean or hurtful to others. And that is a fantastic place to be. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about it later, but that removes me from the accountability and this huge responsibility for what I used to feel around how other people perceive what I said. And I feel I need to just reiterate this again because it is so important. As an empath and a people pleaser back then, I was so focused on how other people perceived my messages and the things that I said. And that is part of why I became so unauthentic. Because I had this whole idea of, you know, that one will react like that, that one will react like that. Hello, you've got no control over how other people perceive or react or feels. You have got control over what you say. That is where it ends. And if what you say, you are saying with kindness and with love and with grace and authenticity, then it is up to the receiving person to deal with whatever goes on in their internal world. And for me, that was a huge step in being able to speak up. So awareness is key. If you believe that you are in a place where you are disconnected with your true self, if you are no longer acting and speaking who you truly are, if it doesn't sit right, if it doesn't feel like, if it's not okay in your gut, then it is time to start reflecting on what is going on in your inner world. Whatever it is that is going on in your inner world, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as well later, but and just quickly, I mean, there are things that the ways that you can reflect. If you are new to this world, reflection is, you can reflect by meditating. I mean, I only started meditating a number of years ago. It used to be a very foreign thing to me. It used to be something that other people did, you know, those that lives in the mountains. It wasn't something I was ever going to do, but I ended up in a situation where I had no choice. Things needed to change, right? And if that is where you are at, then I almost want to say that you cannot live life fully if you do not meditate. It's just such an incredible tool. Journaling is another way that you can self-reflect. Living mindfully is another way, and in the moment is another way that allows you to reflect on where you are internally. So speaking out is not only about getting your voice heard. It is also critical to be able to listen and hear what other people say. To be in the moment, actively listening. The better you become at listening to others, the better will you become at getting your voice heard. And this sounds counterproductive. I know, I understand. I mean, hello, you want your voice to be heard, so you need to speak. No, you need to listen. You need to listen. You need to really, really listen to, you know, to what is the message and what is it. It's all about communicating, and communicating with care and with love is listening to what is this other person trying to tell you. And therefore it changes the whole dynamic of this conversation that you are having, and you will become better at getting your voice out there. Trust me, the minute you've got full understanding of what this other person is trying to say, and you can you can feel what they feel, and you can hear what they say, and you can acknowledge their message, the easier will it be for you to get your message across. Also, feeling like you are heard and, most importantly, understood. So there are a number of active listening techniques and skills that you can practice and learn. We unfortunately just don't have the time to go into the detail, but it includes paraphrasing, reflective listening, looking out for non-verbal cues. If you can master active listening, it will have an adverse effect on your relationships with others. It really does take two to tango. And if you are in a relationship where there is often conflict, chances are that neither of you are speaking authentically, and more importantly, neither of you are feeling heard and understood. So if you are in that kind of relationship, perhaps suggest to this other person to make time to practice active listening, especially for those difficult conversations. Something invaluable that I learned was to bring the conversation down to authentic emotions, for both parties to start their sentences with, when this happens, I feel like. It's just so much better than pointing fingers and saying things like, you do this or you do that wrong. And, put yourself on the other side. If someone says to you, yeah, but you do this and I feel heard, isn't it that your defenses go up immediately? And we all have different defensive methods, coping methods. So you don't know what is happening in that person's world when you say to him, hello, when you do this, you are doing this wrong, or you shouldn't be doing this. So how and why do we need to feel like we are heard? Because no one can read minds. Okay, this is really something that I had to really, really. Hi Christine, welcome. Thank you so much for joining, and everyone on LinkedIn, thank you so much for joining. I'm so grateful you got in. Sorry, I had technical issues on Facebook, just have to say that. No one can read minds. You cannot read minds. No one else can read minds. How often do you have conversations that goes like this? He knows it hurts me when he does that. Then I have to ask the question, how does he know that it hurts you when he does that? Did you tell him that? No, he knows me well enough. We've been together for years. He knows it hurts me when. Okay, but maybe tell him. Did you have a conversation about it? Did you talk about it? Did you have an opportunity to tell him why it hurts you? Did he have an opportunity to tell you why he actually does that? Just like you cannot read minds, nobody can read your mind. And I want to challenge you, when you're in a conversation with someone and you're kind of already deciding, oh, this is what they're thinking. Check in with them if that is really what they're thinking. Ask them, what are you thinking? Just be open for whatever you are going to hear. Because I've tried this and I've tested it, and I can't tell you how many times I've been wrong. The second reason why we need to get our voices out there is that you cannot complain about not feeling heard or seen if you are not trying to get heard. I feel he doesn't appreciate me. Okay, did you tell him? I feel the kids doesn't appreciate me. Okay, did you tell them? We cannot complain if we are not trying to get our voices out there. And I'm going to go through a few reasons why we don't get our voices out there and what holds us back from speaking up. But the third reason why we need to get our voices out there is, in speaking up, you acknowledge yourself. The most important relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. So whatever you do in your life, you need to do it for yourself. It sounds selfish, it's not. The happier you are, the happier will the people around you be. It's inevitable. Acknowledging yourself, speaking out, acknowledging yourself, taps into appreciating yourself. It taps into valuing yourself. It taps into loving and caring for yourself. The fourth reason why we want to speak up is it builds confidence. It really does. The more you speak, the more confident you become. It's inevitable. However, it is really crucial to speak authentically. And the fifth reason why it is so important for us to speak up is it is for your personal growth. It creates self-awareness. You get an opportunity to tap into who you really, how you really feel about things. How do you think, how do you truly think about things? What are your beliefs? It actually makes you think a little bit further. Versus, how are you supposed to think and believe about certain things based on your society, based on your culture, based on the way you grew up? From my personal experience, and the more I tapped into my true beliefs and my, how I thought about things, I realized that I have got a massive problem with putting people into boxes and labeling them. Considering I spent a good number of my years in my life as a compliance officer, where it's all rules-based. But only in the past couple of years did I realize that I've got a massive problem with it. I've got a problem with these rules and these, these limitations that we people, human beings, society put onto us, and inevitably we put onto ourselves. So through this process of self-awareness and personal growth, that I give myself the permission. Permission is such a powerful word. If you don't take anything else from this talk, then just give yourself permission. Allow yourself to let go of whatever preconceived ideas you had. Just allow yourself to step out of the box and question the boxes, the labels, the rules. I'm not saying go haywire and get into trouble with the law. I'm just saying, just start questioning things. So let's talk about the things that hold us back. Why are you not speaking out? Why is your voice not heard? First of all, fear. Fear is a big thing. We all have some or other fears holding something in our worlds back. If you just joined on Facebook, I would love to hear from you. Just tell us that you are here. And if you obviously watch on replay, just hashtag replay, please. So fear, fear is real. It's real. But the whole thing about fears is there is always something sitting behind the fear. And my question to you is, what is it for you? What is sitting behind your fear of speaking out? And it could be speaking out anywhere. It could be speaking out at home, in your own environment, with your kids, with your partners, or it could be in the boardroom or in your corporate environment, at work, with your colleagues. It doesn't matter where. And it could be different in different places, of course. Do you have a fear of conflict? Are you that person who would do anything to avoid conflict? That was me. Do you have a fear of rejection? Do you have a fear that you will no longer be accepted? And accepted by who? And perhaps at work, do you have a fear of retaliation? Like someone's going to come back at you? Do you have a fear of other people's opinions? I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Something else that holds us back is a lack in skills to communicate effectively, to communicate with care. Something else that holds us back is hopelessness. We believe that, you know what, why would I speak up? Nobody's going to pay any attention anyways. You know, this is a hopeless situation. It's just not worth making my voice known. Now, beg to differ, because whatever hopelessness you're seeing in your mind, that's what's going on for you internally. So with any of these fears that's holding you back, I want to really encourage you and challenge you to reflect more on them, to really go deeper in terms of, okay, what sits behind that? What sits behind this feeling of hopelessness for me? Something else that holds us back from speaking out is if you have people-pleasing tendencies, if you are an empath. This concern and responsibility and accountability we have for other people and their feelings and their behaviors and their actions, and the list goes on and on and on. I touched on that earlier, and by the way, if you are checking in on LinkedIn, I'm doing this live as well on Facebook in the Women Empowering Women community. If you would prefer to see the actual video and have access to the recordings, come and join my community. I will just talk about that a little bit more as well. But if you are an empath, if you are so concerned about where this message is going to land, right? That's what we do as women, isn't it? We think we can control everybody, our kids, our partners, our whatever. You are not in control of anyone else. You don't have that power, I'm sorry to say to you. The only person that you can have power over and that you can empower is yourself. Okay? I can give you this message. I can hope that it lands where it's supposed to land, but I've got no control over what you do with it. What you do with it is it's your baby, your responsibility. And the same goes for whatever we say that might be a little bit more negative, or that might raise a little bit of conflict. So what we ultimately try to do is we keep quiet because we think it is simply easier. In Afrikaans, we have a saying, a stil mond is a heel mond. In other words, if you don't open your mouth, you don't, there's no risk in getting hurt. So we try not to complicate our lives. We try not to complicate things, right? Another reason why, yes, we don't speak up is because we're not entirely skilled in communicating and handling conflict. There are ways, there are strategies, there are skills that we can learn in order to handle conflict better. It is really hard dealing with difficult people, and yes, there are many people roaming this earth who are really just difficult, right? Who are just out there to make other people's life hard. But there are skills that we can acquire. There are skills that we can learn to be able to handle that kind of communication and that kind of conflict easier. And one of the skills is really just be authentic, be true to who you are. Stay true to who you are. Communicate with love and care. and empathy. It goes a long way. And then, if the difficult people remains difficult, then it's on them, not on you. You cannot take responsibility for everybody. The other reason we don't have our voices heard is, of course, limiting beliefs. Our limiting beliefs are created throughout our lives and very often before we are born. We have beliefs like, I'm not good enough, the self-doubt, self-worth. We also have cultural beliefs that prevents us from speaking out. I grew up in an environment where, gosh, I'm going to have to say this in Afrikaans again. Kinders moet gesien word, nie gehoor word nie. Kids should be seen and not heard. I don't know how many of you grew up in a similar environment. I remember going to and visiting my aunt and my uncle, and they had this very upmarket apartment. We were allowed to play on the stairs. And we did. We conformed. Now, I have learned that, and definitely this new generation has no idea what I'm talking about, I know, because that was a generational thing. This new generation is all about speaking up and being heard, but my generation didn't grow up like that. We just didn't have a message that needed to be heard. And I'm going to say that many of us, this particular generation, lives our lives with traumas and damage that was done in our childhood. More so because we could not speak up back then. So we have got limiting beliefs, and until you know what your limiting beliefs are, if you have beliefs around women shouldn't be in the boardroom, if you grew up with that belief that women belongs barefoot and in the kitchen, these are still real beliefs that many of us grew up with. If you now find yourself in the boardroom, how confident are you going to be to speak up in front of a boardroom in industries where it is mostly men? Are you going to be confident to speak up? Unless you do something and you tap into that limiting belief of yours, the kind of, I don't belong here. Yes, you belong there. You are there for a reason. You brought yourself there. So the second last thing I want to talk about is just healthy boundaries. That is definitely something that prevents us from speaking out, is that whole thing around boundaries, and I can do a whole talk about boundaries and why it's important to have them. But if you have people-pleasing tendencies, if you're an empath, chances are that your boundaries are not very healthy. So often do I speak to women who go into a relationship, and we go into this relationship and we just want to do absolutely everything for this man. We finally found a man, he wants to marry us, we are extremely happy, and we do everything for them, right? Someone very dear to me used to take her husband's suitcase, briefcase, packed his briefcase, put his lunch in, took his briefcase to his car, started his car. Okay. Unless you can do that for the rest of your life, that is not a healthy boundary, right? It's not sustainable. And you're more than welcome to prove me wrong, but it's just not sustainable. We cannot in this day and age still do that for adult people who can do it themselves. Gotta have healthy boundaries, but gotta have healthy boundaries right from the beginning. And if you realize, if you are in a relationship where you realize, oh my gosh, you know what, I did the earth, moon, and stars, and I promised the earth, moon, and stars for this person in the beginning of our relationship, but now I realize that that was kind of not very healthy. You need to have those conversations. You are going to have those conversations, and you're going to have to set those boundaries straight. Introduce those boundaries. The very last thing, and this is what I want to just spend a little bit of time talking about, is we do not speak out because we are not truly connected with who we are. Okay. I think it speaks for itself. If we cannot communicate authentically, it is because there is a disconnect. There's a mismatch. Something is out of sync for us, right? Whether it be you just have lost your identity, you've lost your connection with yourself, whether it be you are burnt out and you are just in survival mode. I know, I've been there. Whether it be you are in an extremely toxic, unhealthy relationship and now you're just losing who you are. It doesn't matter what your circumstances is and what made you lose that connection. But it is really critical, if you want your voice to be heard, if you want to be taken seriously, to start taking yourself seriously. And the only way to do that is to become aware of who you truly are, to tap into who am I, to ask that question and answer it truthfully, authentically. If you are not able to do that, who are you? What are your core values? I'm not talking about moral values. We can all answer that. I want to know, what are your core values? Who are you truly? Who are you intrinsically? I want to know, what is your purpose? We all have a purpose. We have a reason for being here. If you don't know what your purpose is, you've got to find your purpose. What are your beliefs? What really, really makes you tick? But what are your beliefs? And not only the beliefs that just pops up like that. I want to know, what are the beliefs that are buried under the rubble that drives this ship, but that you're not constantly consciously aware of. Those are the beliefs you've got to go and rediscover and challenge, because I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you have got beliefs that are holding you back. You have got beliefs that are preventing you from speaking out. And it requires asking yourself, why? Why do I do that? Okay, why do I not speak out? Because I'm shy. Okay, why am I shy? Because of this. Okay, why? Just continue asking yourself why. You've heard this a million times. But really take the time to reflect. Spend the time alone with yourself. Get to know yourself as if you are your own best friend, new best friend. You are the most important person in your life. You are worth taking the time, spending it with you, and really getting to know yourself. Because until such time, either you're not going to speak out or you're not going to speak authentically. It is that simple. It is that simple. Many years ago, I was a shy little girl. High school, I didn't want to feature. I barely wanted to speak up to people I knew. Primary school, never uttered a word in class. I was that shy little girl who really didn't, I just wanted to float under the radar. Don't even notice me, don't pay attention to me. I just want to be. Here I am today. I would never have been able to say back then that this is something that I would be doing, that I would be on video, that I would be holding webinars and seminars and speak in public. Never. But here I am, and the only reason why I am here is because I found my purpose, I found myself, I found my identity, I know exactly who I am, and I've accepted that I'm going to say stupid things, and it's okay. So in closing, I just want to mention again, if you have not joined the Women Empowering Women community on Facebook, please come and join us. There's a few things that we do in there as well, apart from this 3-part series that I'm doing for the next 3 weeks. And then I would love to, I'm going to share in the comments, I think I can, I don't know, this is all new to me, it's a first, a link to a level up scorecard. Do yourself a favor and go, and if you're not sure, if you feel you've lost this connection, if something is preventing you from speaking out, go and complete that scorecard. And it will give you an idea of where do you need to do a little bit of work, where do you start really, because it can be very overwhelming when you've lost your identity, where do you start? So it will give you guidance in terms of where to start. And then please share your comments. Please share, and whatever it is that came up, or whatever you've learned, or whatever you feel like sharing, please go ahead and do so. This is a safe space. And yeah, I would love to hear from you. How do you feel about being heard in your life, in your environment at home, in your business, in your career? What challenges do you have around feeling heard? I cannot possibly talk about absolutely all solutions and all techniques and all whatever, but if you ask specific questions, then we can answer it in the community. And in asking questions, we can help each other. There are community members who also need to know, who's probably facing the same challenges as you are. And that is step one, is just step out and empower yourself by stepping up and, putting a comment. Just, that's all that's required for now. And I will also share a link of something that I have found useful in my life, is writing a letter to your future self. And it really outlines what you want in life, what you need in life, and what do you dream about, and just connecting with who you are and getting excited about you and your future and your life and whatever possible change can happen in your life. So that is it. I am going to end it right there. If you've got any questions, whatever, my DMs are open, and I look forward to hearing more from you. The next part of this series I'm really, really excited about is I am confident. So it's I am heard, I am confident, and I am abundant. And thank you very much for joining us, Cara and Teresa, Uplifted Talent, something, Phoebe, Karuna, and Paul. And yeah, join us next week again, same time, same place. Hopefully I will have my tech issues resolved and I will go live in the actual Facebook group. This is going live on my page, but anyway, it is what it is, and it is all good. So have an absolutely amazing day today, and thank you very much for joining, and I look forward to chatting again next week. Okay, well, I killed the LinkedIn. I need to kill Facebook. Oi. Hurt. I'm going to end it right now.